It was just past midnight in a quiet Indiana suburb when police received a frantic 911 call. A woman's voice, shaking, terrified, whispered, "There's blood all over the kitchen. My son is gone." When officers arrived, they found a crime scene that would haunt them for years. A 42-year-old single mother brutally attacked in her own home. The only person missing? Her 16-year-old son, Ethan Reed. Was Ethan a victim, or was he something far darker? That question would tear apart an entire community. Ethan Reed was no ordinary teenager. At 16, he was tall, lanky, with a mop of dark hair and a quiet, brooding presence. Teachers described him as withdrawn but intelligent. His friends said he had a strange fascination with crime documentaries. He lived with his mother, Laura Reed, a hard-working nurse who juggled night shifts at the local hospital. Neighbors described her as kind, patient, and always putting her son first. On the surface, it looked like a normal suburban family, but behind closed doors, cracks were forming. Laura often confided in co-workers that Ethan had become increasingly distant. He skipped school, stayed up all night online, and sometimes exploded in sudden bursts of anger. Still, no one could have predicted what would happen next. June 14th, 2019, a warm summer evening. Laura had just returned from her hospital shift, exhausted but relieved to be home. She texted Ethan to come downstairs for dinner. No response. At first, she assumed he was gaming. But minutes later, Laura screamed loud enough for neighbors to hear. Her kitchen was splattered with blood. Cabinets were broken, glass shattered. And Ethan's bedroom upstairs? Empty. His clothes gone. His phone left behind, wiped clean. Police initially feared Ethan had been kidnapped, but something about the scene felt staged. There was no forced entry, no footprints leaving the house. And then, detectives noticed something chilling. The knife missing from Laura's kitchen set matched the shape of the bloody imprint left on the counter. Ethan wasn't missing. He was on the run. Before we go any further, hit that subscribe button now. Stay updated on shocking true crimes that rarely see the light of day. Stick with us till the end as we uncover another chilling mystery. Detectives launched a statewide manhunt. Flyers went up. News stations plastered Ethan's face on every screen. But the investigation took a strange turn when Laura regained consciousness at the hospital. Her injuries were severe. Stab wounds to the abdomen, defensive cuts along her arms. But she survived. When police asked who attacked her, Laura whispered just one word. Ethan. Viewers, imagine being in that courtroom later, hearing a mother force a point at her only child, and call him her attacker. But at that moment, officers face a terrifying reality. A dangerous teen, armed and unstable, was loose in the community. 2 days later, a farmer outside Bloomington spotted a boy matching Ethan's description hiding in an abandoned barn. When deputies arrived, Ethan bolted. What happened next felt like a scene out of a thriller. Helicopters circled overhead. K-9 units swept the woods. Every few hours, someone reported a glimpse of the boy, tall, thin, carrying a backpack. But Ethan always slipped away, like a ghost. Was he hunting or running? That question would only grow darker when detectives opened Ethan's backpack, abandoned near creek. Inside, they found two things. A blood-stained hoodie, and a spiral notebook filled with disturbing entries about murder, anger, and how people deserve punishment. The writings were cold, methodical, almost like instructions. The discovery sent shockwaves. Was Ethan planning more attacks? Was his mother just the beginning? And most chilling of all, where was he hiding? Because the next time police found Ethan Reed, it wouldn't just be a chase. It would end in violence. By the time police discovered Ethan Reed's bloodstained hoodie and disturbing journal, fear gripped Indiana. A 16-year-old suspected of stabbing his own mother was on the run, and his writings hinted at something even worse. Next time, I won't hesitate. The community braced for what felt like an inevitable tragedy. For nearly a week, Ethan eluded police. He slipped in and out of small towns, hitchhiked rides, and scavenged food. Residents locked their doors. Parents kept their kids inside. Police lines buzzed with sightings. A shadowy figure near a gas station at 2 a.m. A teen caught on a convenience store camera, staring directly into the lens. A school custodian reporting fresh footprints across the gym floor. But every time deputies arrived, Ethan was already gone. It felt less like a boy running scared, and more like someone playing a game. Imagine living in that community, every noise at night, every creak on the porch, wondering if the fugitive teen was outside your window. June 22nd, 2019, Day 8 of the manhunt. A trucker called 911 after spotting a boy crouched under an overpass near I-65. State troopers swarmed the area. When they closed in, Ethan bolted again. But this time, he ran straight into a dead end. Pinned against a chain-link fence, Ethan dropped to his knees. For the first time since the attack, he spoke. She wouldn't stop yelling at me. I just wanted her to shut up. Those words chilled officers to their core. The manhunt was over, but the real nightmare was just beginning. Once in custody, detectives began piecing together the crime. Forensic teams confirmed the blood on Ethan's hoodie matched his mother's. The knife missing from Laura's kitchen was later found in a drainage ditch near where Ethan camped out. But what truly disturbed investigators were Ethan's journals. Page after page described fantasies of violence, revenge against classmates, even step-by-step breakdowns of how to get away with murder. One entry read, "If you plan carefully, the world will never see it coming. Start with someone close. Someone who trusts you." Prosecutors now had a chilling case. Not just a moment of teenage rage, but premeditated attempted murder. Stay tuned as we unravel this mystery, and click that subscribe button now, cause this true crime series would send chills down your spine. Detectives asked Ethan one simple question. "Why your mother?" His response stunned them. "She kept nagging me, always telling me I'd never be good enough. I wanted her to feel what it's like when someone takes control of your life. No tears, no regret, just a flat, emotionless voice." Even veteran officers admitted it was one of the coldest confessions they'd ever heard. News of Ethan's arrest split the community. Some saw him as a monster, a teen who turned on the one person who loved him most. Others wondered if years of hidden mental illness or neglect had pushed him to the breaking point. Parents asked themselves, could this happen in my home? Could my child ever snap like that? Prosecutors wasted no time. They announced Ethan would be charged as an adult, attempted murder and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. If convicted, he faced life in prison. But Ethan's defense team pushed back. They argued he was a child, incapable of fully understanding the weight of his actions. They painted him as a troubled teen, suffering from undiagnosed depression and isolation. And then another twist emerged. Detectives uncovered disturbing reports from Ethan's high school. Teachers revealed he had written violent essays about revenge. One described a fictional student who murdered his family to prove a point. Classmates admitted Ethan often talked about wanting to see what it feels like to kill. And just months before the attack, Ethan had been suspended for bringing a hunting knife to school. All the warning signs were there, but no one acted soon enough. When Ethan appeared in court for the first time, the room went silent. He shuffled in wearing an oversized orange jumpsuit, chains rattling at his wrists and ankles. His face was expressionless, his eyes darting toward the cameras. Across the aisle, Laura Reed sat in a wheelchair, her wounds still healing. She looked directly at her son, tears streaming down her face. But Ethan didn't look back. When the judge asked how he pleaded, Ethan's voice was barely above a whisper. Not guilty. Gasps filled the courtroom. As the trial date approached, the case gained national attention. A 16-year-old boy accused of trying to kill his own mother. Was he a calculating predator or a broken child? And what would happen when mother and son finally face each other in court? The truth would be even more chilling than anyone imagined. The courthouse in Indianapolis was packed. Reporters lined the sidewalks. Protesters shouted outside with signs, "Justice for Laura" on one side, "He's just a child" on the other. Inside, tension hung thick. Everyone was waiting for one moment. The verdict in the case of 16-year-old Ethan Reed. Would the jury see him as a dangerous predator who nearly killed his own mother? Or as a troubled teenager in need of help? The trial was about to reveal everything. Prosecutors didn't hold back. They laid out the crime scene in painful detail. Blood evidence, the missing knife, the notebook filled with violent fantasies. They reminded the jury of Ethan's chilling words at the time of his capture. "She wouldn't stop yelling at me. I just wanted her to shut up." They called teachers and classmates to the stand, each describing a boy fascinated with death, obsessed with control, and prone to violent outbursts. Their message was simple. This was no accident. Ethan Reed had planned to kill. Stay tuned as we unravel this mystery, and click that subscribe button now, cause this true crime series would send chills down your spine. The defense painted a very different picture. They described Ethan as a deeply lonely teenager, abandoned by his father, and raised by a mother stretched too thin by her job. They brought in a psychiatrist who testified that Ethan suffered from untreated depression and possible antisocial tendencies. The defense argued that Ethan didn't fully grasp the permanence of his actions. That, at 16, he was a boy, confused, impulsive, and sick. Should a child, they asked, really be locked away for life? But the most powerful moment came when Laura Reed herself took the stand. She walked slowly, her steps unsteady, the scars from her wounds still visible. And when asked to identify her attacker, she turned toward her son. Her voice cracked. It was Ethan. For the first time in the trial, Ethan's face changed. His eyes flickered. Anger? Shame? No one could tell. Then Laura said something no one expected. "I don't want my son to spend the rest of his life in prison. I want him to get help." Gasps rippled through the courtroom. The victim herself was pleading for mercy. Against his lawyer's advice, Ethan took the stand. His testimony was chilling. He admitted to attacking his mother, but insisted he never meant to kill her. He claimed he lost control during an argument, but prosecutors pressed him on his journals. "Did you write these words?" "Yes." "And were you planning to kill her?" A long pause. Then, "I thought about it." Those 4 words landed like a bombshell. The prosecution told the jury, Ethan Reed is not a child who made a mistake. He is a calculating young man who chose violence. And if given the chance, he could choose it again. The defense countered. Ethan is a broken teenager, not a monster. Prison will not fix him. Treatment might. The jury's decision would determine the rest of Ethan's life. After 6 tense hours, the jury returned. The courtroom went silent. On the charge of attempted murder, we find the defendant guilty. Laura wept quietly. Ethan sat motionless. But then came the sentence. Because Ethan was tried as an adult, the judge had the power to give him decades in prison. Yet, he also weighed Ethan's age. Finally, the judge spoke. Ethan Reed, you are hereby sentenced to 45 years in prison. The room erupted, some shouting that it was too harsh, others that it was too light. As deputies moved to cuff him, Ethan smirked. Not tears, not remorse. A smirk. Reporters captured the moment, his thin smile as his mother sobbed in the front row. That image went viral, and it became the lasting symbol of the case. In the months after sentencing, the community struggled to process the case. Some saw Ethan as proof that teenagers could be just as dangerous as adults. Others saw him as a failure of the system, a boy who slipped through the cracks until it was too late. Laura Reed eventually moved away from the town, carrying both physical scars and emotional ones. She rarely spoke publicly, except to say she still loved her son. And Ethan? He began serving his sentence in a maximum security facility, where he'll be eligible for parole in his 60s. The case of Ethan Reed leaves us with haunting questions. What creates a teen capable of turning on their own parent? Is it evil, or is it brokenness? And should age excuse violence when the crime is so deliberate? In the end, Ethan Reed's story isn't just about one boy and one brutal night. It's about a justice system forced to decide how young is too young for a life behind bars. What do you think? Did the jury get it right? 45 years behind bars for a 16-year-old? Or should Ethan have been treated as a troubled child instead of a dangerous criminal? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you found this story haunting, don't miss our next case, where another teen shocking outburst in the courtroom stunned the nation.